as heavy wave after wave continues to push into Arkansas and Oklahoma. We've got another good batch coming in here over the next 4 to 5 hours. That's how much longer we have to go with some of the heavy snow. And you're looking live in Bacola. Of course, it gets hard to see late at night, but you're going off of some of the lights there off of 271, and you can see it really coming down. Just almost getting towards whiteout conditions, just those flakes are so big. At least it's not windy. And a lot of folks have been asking, am I going to get blizzard conditions? Not necessarily, just because the winds aren't there. It's actually a nice snowfall. You go outside, it doesn't feel all that cold. And that's one reason why the snow's so wet. We're closer to the freezing mark, adds more water into it, and that's why you've got this great snowball snow. And we've seen a lot of cool snow sculptures that folks have been making across Arkansas and Oklahoma. So this is live look in Bacola. You're looking right along the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, and you're looking back north and west towards Sallisaw. Of course, sometimes you see some of the lights way off in the distance, and you're not going to see them tonight just because the snow is coming down pretty heavily. This is what it looks like with Max Doppler 5. The center of low pressure is now in northeast Texas, but we're on the north side, and we continue to get that colder air coming in. The heaviest snow so far has been in parts of LaFleur County and Sebastian County, but if you look closely, it's starting to lighten up a little bit. We've got some dry air that's worked in from the south, but it's not going to last forever. We've got this final wraparound band that's coming in. So a little bit lighter in the River Valley for a moment, but heavier stuff will come on in. Northwest Arkansas, we're trying to make up for some of the late snowfall arrival that we had throughout the afternoon. It took us a while, especially in Benton County, but now we're starting to rack up the inches as well. The mountains are just completely inundated with the snow too. But let's take a closer look at home as the snow continues to fall. Very heavy right over Fort Smith, but you go outside Fort Smith. Once you head south of Rye Hill and Fianna Hills, and then you head towards Greenwood, a little bit lighter at this time. Poto finally lighten up a little bit. It's a little bit still heavy on the north side of the hill, headed north towards Panama and Spiro and Shady Point. Sallisaw still getting some of that snow. You look back west, I tell you what, Tulsa has been in this bubble of warmth, getting rain most of the time, so they haven't been getting a lot of snow, but it looks like finally some snow starting to fall. They've had their winter storm warnings downgraded a bit as you get closer to Tulsa, but you cross the state line, it's been nothing but snow for the past couple of hours. Heavy snow right along I-40. We've really eliminated some of that rain that we had earlier throughout the evening. Some of us have been still kind of just on the west side, some still bare spots. We don't really have a lot of snow. I think that's going to change over the next couple of hours as more starts to move in. Here's a closer look at some of that drier air that's working in. This lighter white color, that's showing you the lighter snow. The darker blues are the heavier snow. We've got that right along the Arkansas River into Fort Smith, Van Buren. If you remember earlier, we were talking about that pocket of warm air along the river. It's now gone, and now it's pretty much just pure snow area wide. We got the snow over Paris, and finally getting that in Ozark and Altus. Ozone getting the snow. Deep in the mountains, we're getting the snow too. Northwest Arkansas is just a sheet of solid snow from Washington County north into Benton County right now. It just continues to come down. We're just right around that 1 inch per hour snowfall rate too. Most of us are just below that now in the River Valley, but in Northwest Arkansas, things have really picked up throughout the evening. This is what it looks like now in Bentonville. You can see all the grassy spots are all coated, but if you look at the roads, they're doing fine. A lot of these snowflakes continue to hit the ground and they melt. Crews have been working hard today on these roads, and you can see the result of it. Also, the roads are running a little bit warmer because January has been a really warm month for us. We're finally getting back to where we should be for this time of year with some of this colder air. But I think some of that warmth that we had for the first 2 weeks of 2023 really helped out things. You can see the snow falling if you look closely at some of the street lamps, because if you just look overall, you're thinking, is it's not snowing anymore? Oh yeah, it is. You just have to look towards those street lamps. It gets harder to see once you're here in the overnight hours. Live look on I-49, you're looking towards the Embassy Suites Hotel. So you're looking from New Hope Road. So New Hope Road's right kind of behind us where the camera is, and you're looking back towards the south, folks headed south. You still have wet roadways. Now some of the shoulders have just a little bit of accumulation, but not much. Most of the time, folks are cruising down the interstate fine. Now, bridges and overpasses, you have to watch out for those. And it gets really tricky once you head into the mountains. Mountains are a completely different story. We have several slowdowns along I-49 when we were checking the traffic conditions. You get from Greenland south, it's a mess. Now, earlier we're having cars in the ditch and things like that. That is probably going to continue throughout the overnight hours. Just watch. The bridges and overpasses will be slick, especially in the mountains. And sometimes you've got some accumulation on the sides of the road in the mountains too. And to get out of the mountains, we've been looking okay-ish. Some slush. But a lot of times the roads are wet. You just got to watch every time, every mile is a little bit different from the previous mile that you were just in. So keep that in mind. But we got a lot of snow off the interstate area wide. You get on some of these rural roads, it's been difficult. In fact, in western and northwestern Logan County, you going on 10 or 23 with those hills, boy, I tell you what, it's been very difficult trying to go up some of those hills. We've had a lot of folks kind of stall out trying to just go up the hill and then sliding. It's been a mess. So that's probably going to continue overnight as the snow continues as well. Here's a look at Futurecast. This is past 10 o'clock, snow continuing. 11 o'clock, we still have it. After midnight, we finally start to wrap things up. By about 1 or 2, I think we're mostly done. There could be flurries the rest of the morning. And tomorrow morning, wake up with 5 News. We're going to have crews out. In fact, Stephen Elmore and I are going to be out watching the roads from Benton County south to the mountains. And then we've got our crews in Fort Smith, meteorologist Stephen Abshire. He'll be there watching the roads as well. We've got full team coverage. We want to let you know how the roads look tomorrow morning as you're headed out the door. It could go to bed one thing, but waking up could be a whole different story. At least temperatures are not going to fall too much overnight. What you have right now is what you have for tomorrow morning. So we're not talking about a huge bunch of refreezing. There could be some side spots with some refreezing, but it's not going to be widespread. It's not as if we get a snow and then you go to 10 or 20 degrees and then you get lots of ice forming. So that's at least some good news. All right, how much snow are we getting? Overall, northwest Arkansas for the metro is about 5 to 8 inches. It took us a while to start, but now the snow is coming big time. In the River Valley, some of us already have 6 inches or so. We had a report, southern Sebastian County, 6.5. We have about 6 in Poto about an hour ago. And so we've upped the snowfall totals right through Fort Smith and into the River Valley. We've still a little bit behind along the Arkansas River. Clarksville took us a while. We still have some reports as of about 7 o'clock that we didn't have much snow, and sometimes not at all. And so, but now the snow is finally starting to come down. So what's next? Heavy snow continues. It's been picking up in the River Valley, but it does end after midnight. Tomorrow, the snow does come to an end, other than a stray flurry. Same story in the River Valley. We're going to try to hit the low 40s. A lot of the roads will be melted by tomorrow afternoon. So that's some good news, but the snow is probably going to stick on the grass here for quite some time.